Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Who need to hear this, but let me put this out here. Stop sparing folks. Hello, somebody. Stop sparing folks. Nobody cared when your feelings was hurt. Nobody cared when you was pacing the floor. Nobody cared when you was sliding down the wall. Nobody cared when you was standing over there with a face full of tears. You had to suck it up, buttercup. But then when it come to other folk feelings, here you are, want to tiptoe around it, want to avoid the elephant in the room. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to disturb the peace. Stop sparing folk. Ain't nobody spare you when it was your turn. Give it to them real. Give it to them raw. Give it to them uncut and uncensored. This is exactly what it is. This way you had me messed up at. Huh. Yeah. I ain't playing with nobody this season, baby.
And slid down so we can see a red suitcase right here for law enforcement if they're watching and you guys would like to come back here. Of her being out here. So this is what we're doing today. We will see you guys back here real soon.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Good morning, my beautiful people of YouTube and Twitter. It's nice to see you all here bright and early this beautiful Tuesday morning. I got a new camera. I don't know if you like this better. I don't know if it looks better. I was just sick of the MacBook Pro camera, so I decided to get another one, right? So here's what it looks like. Let me see if I can change it. Here's what it looks like without the new camera. There I am. Hey! And here I am with the new camera. And I'm back. So hopefully when I go back, I'll see which camera I like. If I don't like it, I'll send it back. You know what I'm saying? Good morning, Katrina. The first to say good morning to Bullhorn Betty chat. It is a beautiful Friday. It is a beautiful Florida day today. I have to be honest with you. It is so beautiful. I have the windows and doors open. I surely do. I have the windows and doors open. I turned off the air conditioning. The first time I've turned off the air conditioning, probably, I don't know, since the last time I went on I never turn my air conditioning off, actually. Even when I go out, I always set it to 79 because I live in Florida. I don't want to come back to mold. So it is absolutely gorgeous today. I've went out. I've actually got some fresh air. I had a cup of coffee outside. It's absolutely gorgeous in Florida, at least in my area. Good morning, Mama Llama. It's nice to see you, Van Lady. Nani, good morning. Stacy, our yesterday birthday girl. And I see somebody has a milestone, not a birthday just quite yet, but I see it's coming, right? I see it's coming. Good morning, Gigi for life. Days is in the house. Good morning. Good morning. Who else do we have? Michigan is going to be in the low 40s, or has been in the low 40s at night. So it's starting to get chilly around the country. Nice. It is time. It is coffee weather, right? It is coffee weather for our coffee club, right? But coffee is always on stock here at the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Michelle, it's nice to see you. Teresa, good morning. Chef Apples, good morning. It's nice to see you. Crafty Chris, second thesis, good morning. Alabama Mom of 4, Pittsburgh Nurse, it's nice to see Net L in the house. Sailor Purge, it's nice to see you. Miss Robin, woohoo! Almost to be a birthday girl. It's nice to see you. Thank you for your wonderful and loving support for the last 9 months. Awesome. Well, everybody else, if I missed you, come on, y'all. Good morning. Sergeant King, good morning. Good morning. Who else do we have? See you later. Jessica and Unicorn. It's nice to see you all here this morning as you're waking up to a crisp morning. Now, listen, I'm like the lowest part, right, of the United States. I'm in Florida. We go way down here, right? So I know if it's cool here in the state of Florida, it's got to be pretty stinking cold the rest of the place. Now, you guys may be loving the temperature, but I can tell you if this Florida butt is in 40-degree weather, I'm shivering. I'm shivering. We have another birthday girl, Nani. Thank you. Thank you. 12 months being a member. Thank you for your love and support in our special day as we celebrate together. Good morning. And it's been a while. My mom passed in June. I was devastated. Sorry, Betty. I'll join it. Oh, well, I am, don't worry about me. My word. I am so sorry that your mom passed. I am so sorry to hear that. I wish you would have let somebody know. We could have prayed for you. If nothing more, we could have said some prayers. But we have been praying for you, even though we didn't know you were who we've been praying for, because we've been praying for all that those that have been suffering. So God bless you, Ann. God bless you. And hopefully, if there's anything that we can do support-wise, please let us know. We're always here to help, not just true crime, but we're here to help anybody that, needs help. So we love you. Right? We love you. We love you. So it's nice to see you all here. I'm not going to spend too much time on a bunch of different news like I normally do. As you guys know, I'm on crunch time right now. So we're just going to get in here and have a discussion about Rex Heuermann. For those that are new to Rex Heuermann or the Gilgo Beach case, I'll try to give you guys a little update, but we're going to be reading an article, so you're going to get an update on this anyways. So Rex Heuermann was just recently arrested. We were actually doing a live here, and somebody in the chat was saying, oh my gosh, the Gilgo Beach serial killer was arrested. And we're like, and I'm, it's been a while, the case wasn't discussed very much. It's kind of one of those things that we heard about it. I want to say in 2010, I think is when, I can't remember the exact timing of Shannon Gilbert, but I remember hearing that at that time that they were looking for her and they never found her. But while looking for her sometime later during a training exercise that they had started finding, they found a set of remains. They realized, I remember them saying it wasn't the person that they were looking for. But again, one of those hazy memories that I had. And so while I was sitting here, I'm just trying to think. And it's like, oh, I remember this. And so as we were talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this the one that, they found the body? And then it was like every time they turned around, they would find another one. And they're like, yes. And they were wrapped in burlap type sack or netting or something. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that very grainy detail of the burlap, but apparently it was important. And there was a lot of things that were attached to those bodies that are now coming full circle that are really directing it being Rex Heuermann that was responsible for this. Apparently something had happened when did he get arrested? Was it March or May? I know it was one of the M months, but either way, I don't know why I can't remember this. I had all this stuff in my head this morning. I probably should have wrote it down. But he was arrested without incident, literally walking from his office. And when we first got this press conference that this was going on, again, this was all happening live while I was live on a live broadcast. So we're kind of switching gears. There's a press conference going on. And so we kind of get over to this press conference and we are listening to them. And it was something that they said. I can't remember my exact words. I didn't go back and review the video prior to this live this morning, but I can't remember what my exact words were. But there was something that the chief said, something to the effect of, we didn't really want to make the arrest just yet. And he went on to slightly elaborate on that. And I remember saying something happened where they feared that he was about to commit this crime again or about to act, because I remember that it's one of those things that I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it, but when you're listening to something and it's, they're just talking into a microphone, kind of like I am. They're not really, they're really excited. They're not yelling or screaming or anything like that. But it's like one thing that they'll say, and it's almost like for you when you go back to listen to it, it doesn't change. It's not louder or amplified in any way, but for that moment, it's like screaming at you. And that was what that statement did to me when he had referred. I think he only referred to this one time in that initial interview or initial press conference about them not being actually prepared or ready at that moment to arrest Rex. Well, we later found out that his wife was leaving. It did end up being that they were very concerned that this man was about to attack again. And that was a big concern for law enforcement, and exactly why they ended up, in my opinion, jumping the gun and arresting him. They had enough, I think, to arrest him. And they probably should have arrested him a long time ago. There was some police corruption going on and what have you that prevented almost like a 10-year gap from this being really properly investigated. Apparently, the chief of police was trying to cover up his own shenanigans and his own corruption. And so he wasn't working well with the FBI. He didn't want the FBI in his business. He didn't want the FBI in his department. And he was basically, there was 3 different investigations going on, and all of which none of them were communicating the results to each other. So it created this vacuum that kept this case from being solved for over a decade. And in some parts, even longer than that. So now they're expanding the investigation into Rex Heuermann, as many can imagine. He is linked. There was many bodies on this strip of Gilgo Beach. We've discussed it at length. You know, some people we all have a little differing of opinions. I'm not sure how many people in our chat actually support my opinion or not, but there may be some people in the chat that think all of these bodies on this section of beach are probably and most likely linked to Rex. I'm honestly on a different, absolutely different wavelength. I actually, and I said this at the beginning, I think there's 2 that were out there at the same time, which is really, really crazy. And 2 of those that, and the reason why is I don't think it, just in my opinion, I don't think that the serial killer goes from staging, it goes from dismemberment and then moves backwards to staging. Usually you find when you're dealing with these types of people that they perfect their craft and they go a little further, and they may go a little further. So you would see something more in line with maybe earlier killings that say are staged, and then he escalates. That's not getting him where he needs to be, euphorically. So now he's engaging in more disturbing behavior like dismemberment. So what you see here is the cases like Karen, what's her name? Vergata. Her case, this predated those 4 bodies that were found on Gilgo Beach that were actually linked to Rex Heuermann. And there's still one of the 4 that hasn't quite been linked, but they believe it's getting close. So these are different people than we've really discussed much in the past. I think we did one live related to Karen, but I didn't cover Valerie. I didn't cover Valerie at all. And these are the 2 other escort workers that they believe might or may be tied to Rex Heuermann together. My issue with this is I honestly believe, because you have staging in one and dismemberment in the other, to me, they don't go together. To somebody else, they might. They may be like, they don't really care. But to me, that studies this stuff, to me, it matters. This is a big difference in the style of disposal. And usually when you have these types, you hear them all the time where they have calling cards or they do the same exact stuff over and over again. Hey, Miss Robin, over and over again. So they perfect their skills. So I just don't, I've seen escalation, not necessarily in a serial type of situation, but I have seen escalations in types of crimes from individuals where they start out, and then we've seen it all. We've all covered cases like that, where they start out with petty charges. And as they go, they're escalating. For example, maybe a serial rapist. Maybe one of the things that the serial rapist may do might be a peeping Tom, right? Another escalation for that peeping Tom may be actually breaking into a home and being caught sniffing underwear, or breaking into a home and retrieving underwear or retrieving personal or undergarment type of things. You see it going just from peeping now to actually physically wanting to touch, sniff, and smell. So it's an escalation process. So for me, in my mind, and the way my brain thinks and the way my brain understands serial killers, now mind you, I'm not an expert in the field in any stretch of the imagination, but I'd like to say I have an understanding of just reading and comprehending serial killers generally. And I just don't see a serial killer starting out with dismemberment and then moving down to just staging. It seems like the erotic or euphoric effect of that dismemberment would have more of an effect on that person than, say, just staging. So I honestly believe that we're going to find out that Karen, potentially, that Karen as well as Vicky may be a second serial killer. Let's face it. I mean, this area of Gilgo Beach in the 90s all the way up to the mid 2000s was a dumping. It was a kill zone. It was a kill zone. It was a dumping ground for these sickos in that area. And then on top of that, mind you, it's my theory. Now, there's no evidence to support it just yet, but it is my theory that there were two killers that were dumping bodies on Gilgo Beach. I think Rex Heuermann was one of them, and I think the one that's dismembering these bodies is a second one. But then I also believe that there was a third one. And this is not just this crazy, I need a 10 hat, Bullhorn Betty needs her 10 hat, conspiracy theory nonsense. Over in Atlantic City, remember, they had the Strangler. What was it? The East Side Strangler. And they actually thought there for a minute that maybe Rex Heuermann was actually the East Side Strangler over there in Jersey. I think it's Jersey. Atlantic City's in Jersey, right? I think it's Jersey. Sorry, and forgive me. I don't have a map in front of me, and I'm thinking on the top of my head with just very little coffee in me, and I've been up for a while. But Atlantic City. So now you've got, and you know how close New Jersey and New York are, in Manhattan. I mean, it's just right over the bridge. I mean, they're just a spit away from each other. So now you have potentially two serial killers dumping bodies in Gilgo Beach, and another serial killer over there in Jersey, the Hillside or the East Side Strangler, or Hillside. It's one of the two. It's just all going on at the same time. Tell me that's not freaky. I would have been fearful living in that whole section of the United States in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, it pretty is. Atlantic City is New Jersey. Okay, thank you, Grannies. I appreciate it. So I just thought it was, it's just interesting. And that's not even the bad apples. That's not even all the drugs and everything that were going on during that time too. I mean, there was a major explosion of the CRACK drug on the scene where people were literally gunning each other down in the middle of the streets in New York. So all of this chaos is really going on, and you have to look at the whole picture. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on here, and major police corruption to boot. Like, I'm surprised crime did explode. And I was going to say, I'm surprised crime didn't just go through the roof, but it did. It did, so much so that the Clintons, they had that whole bill. Remember the bill? It's very controversial. It wasn't controversial as much as it is today as it was then, because when they were putting this stuff in place, it really was a dangerous place to live. People people. I remember this. Like, people were just shooting people up. They were going into these trap houses and just blowing people away. It was just it was great. It was absolutely insane. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this on the screen, and we're just going to read it and go over it so everybody here in the audience can be refreshed on the details. And these details are more factual. You know, whenever I'm talking here in the morning, I'm going off a lot of memory or a lot of emotion that I remember feeling or seeing or hearing at the time this stuff was going on way back then, because it's just too hard for me to research the stuff from years ago. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes not so much. Like when I was doing the research for Karen Vargata, it was very difficult to find anything on her from the 1996 on up. You really don't get a whole lot of information until almost 2011, and that's when they found her skull. So it's been very difficult researching this particular case. Some of the stuff is easily found because we're finding out that some of the mainstream media, especially in that local area, are digging up some stuff and publishing it in New Day, you know, in 2023. So we're able to see that. But in light of the fact that our computers were like, our internet was maybe 2 years old at the time these homicides were going on. It was, you know, it's not what it was. I mean, in 1996, we're still hearing, you have mail, you know, remember that? The American Online. Oh my gosh, do they even exist anymore? Like they were like the it factor when the internet came out. Like they were, remember America Online? They used to send you CD-ROMs. They'd give you free service if you put your CD-ROM in and download their service. You guys remember that? Don't tell anybody. Guys, quit laughing at me. I already started seeing laughing. I'm not that old, okay? I'm not that old. I'm just older than dirt. I'm becoming older than dirt. All right, enough's enough. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this particular page real quick because it has a habit of just playing on and on. And so the video that I wanted to actually have you guys watch is no longer here. So give me just a second. Let me just refresh this. There it is. Is this the one? Yeah. So it should be coming up in just a second. And I just have a slight lag now that I have the new camera. It's something to do with it. So we'll listen to an ad and then we'll get right into it. At least I think that.
Realtor.com is the #1 app real estate professionals trust. So when you're buying or selling a home, Realtor.com's Real Estimate gives you 3 independent valuations, so you know what a home is really worth. Real Choice Selling lets you choose from multiple agent proposals, because when agents compete, you win. And RealView Maps show you precise wildfire, flood, and noise ratings on every home listing.
Don't all apps do that?
Not really. Trust the #1 app real estate professionals trust. Download the Realtor.com app today.
Here it is.
I can't say if it's a big deal or not big deal. What we talked about, what we talked about is a hair. So, and all of this is important because they're trying to establish that his DNA matches one strand of hair, right? One follicle of hair, it's called a follicle. The point is that they're excluding a portion of the population and they're including a portion of the population. There's nobody on the face of this earth that's credible is going to say that hair is my client's hair. It's impossible on the science standards. What they can do is say he could potentially be a donor for that hair, but so could thousands and thousands of other people just in our area. So take that for what it's worth. All right, folks. Thanks.
There was the surveillance team had observed the pizza box and were confident that was his DNA, that the DNA profile would be consistent with the defendant because he left that material inside the box, and so the buccal swab just erases all that.
And as we learned, it's not a buccal swab, it's called a buccal swab. We learned that in the Alec Murdaugh case, saying that many people mispronunciate that word. So we'll say buccal swab because that's what was what was driven home for us during this time. And so let me just put this back up here, and then we'll just read the article. I'm just going to make it big so you guys can read right along with me. Hopefully it doesn't start those commercials. I'll try to get it off if it does. There we go. So it says Suffolk County Police are expanding their investigation into accused serial killer Rex Heuermann to determine whether he may have been involved in the deaths of 2 additional female escort workers whose names were found or whose remains were scattered across Long Beach. Police Commissioner Rodney K. Harris assigned 2 additional investigators to Gilgo Beach Task Force to prioritize work on the background of the suspected victims, Valerie Mack and Karen Vergata. The additional 2 officers are also working to vet numerous tips while others try to identify the remains of 3 other bodies that were found near Gilgo Beach. I thought it was a good idea to grab some people from the outside to take a look at other things that maybe potentially attach themselves to Rex Heuermann, Harrison said. It is something I need, a dedicated team of investigators to prioritize, to come to work, not going to do anything but look to see if you can attach them to anywhere. Once we get that, then maybe we can go forward with either bodies being something that Rex Heuermann might have been involved in, or identifying another suspect or subject who might have been involved. So there are the 2 cases. Now, obviously, these girls, these are probably most likely photos from school. Both of these girls have obviously took different paths in their lives and most likely did not look like this at the time of their death. But still just very sweet, beautiful girls that didn't deserve this to happen to them. So Karen Vergata, 34, was identified as a potential witness of Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann in August, and we covered her case at that time. This is the first time, maybe not the first time I've heard of Valerie, but this is the first time I'm actually covering her. And Suffolk County Police are probing the whereabouts of Valerie Mack in the days before her disappearance. And of course, there's Rex Heuermann coming in. I think this may have been his arraignment or another court hearing. I can't remember which one that was, but I do recognize that photo. Harrison said that the 2 additional officers assigned to the task force are looking into the escort workers Valerie Mack and Karen Vergata's activities before their death. Mack, 24, had disappeared from her New Jersey home in the summer of 2000, and her dismembered remains were found in 2 different locations across Long Island, including along Ocean Parkway, which it abuts Gilgo Beach. And guys, I'm not being able to watch your comments, so once I'm done with this article, I will read comments if you want to hold them until the end and we can look them up. In recent weeks, Tricia Hayes, Mack's half-sister, said the task force detective asked her about Mack's family's history. As she was adopted and collected copies of letters Mack sent to different family members, the investigators told her they were trying to construe a timeline showing where Mack was traveling, Hazen said. This is not going to be solved overnight, she told Newsday, adding that I am grateful for the deep dive into Valerie and the other women killed. And again, that as she got out of school, you can start seeing a change in her into more of a darker young lady, wearing black, darker hair. Valerie's half-sister said investigators have contacted her in the recent weeks to conduct a timeline. This is obviously where they found some of Mack's remains. They were digging and unearthing those. And then, of course, they bring the excavation team in. for Karen Vergara's body. Harrison also said that the task force is trying to determine how the dismembered body of Vergara, 34, was found on Fire Island in September 1996. Her skull was found years later, April 2011, along Ocean Parkway. And again, that's as we hear a lot about this, you're going to hear a lot about this Ocean Parkway, which abuts Gilgo. Vergara's 2 sets of remains were linked by DNA analysis in 2011 and were subsequently identified definitively thanks to genetic genealogy and the relative buccal swab in October 2022. Suffolk County Attorney Ray Tierney said at an August press conference, which we watched that press conference here live on the show. She is believed to have disappeared around February 14th, 1996, which, as many know, was Valentine's Day of 1996. So definitely something that maybe lonely men may have been reaching out, trying to, because we know the kind of work she was in and the particular day she disappeared. We were here for this press conference. We were really proud when they identified the 4, and then now they're talking about Vergara in this particular press conference. We have to look at what happened on Fire Island and take a look at the investigation and how it went from Fire Island over to Ocean Park, Harrison told New Day. We will continue to work hard to see if we can attach these other unidentified bodies that were discovered on Ocean Parkway. So it is a work in progress, he added. And so here's some information about the Gilgo Beach victims for the people that are maybe new to this case or just need to be freshened up on details. Who were the Gilgo Beach victims? Suspected serial killer Rex Heuermann, a New York City architect and married dad of 2, was arrested in connection with the long unsolved Gilgo Beach murders. The arrest is tied to the so-called Gilgo 4 women found wrapped in burlap within days of each other in late 2010. The years-long investigation that led to the arrest revolved around the discovery of more than 10 sets of human remains along Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach in Suffolk County between December 2010 and April 2011. Most victims were petite female escort workers with green or hazel eyes, but there were also 2 exceptions, a 2-year-old girl and a young Asian male. Melissa Barthélemy, 24 years old. Barthélemy was an escort who lived in Unionport section of the Bronx and dreamed one day of opening her own beauty salon. She was last seen alive in her basement apartment on Underhill Avenue, July 12, 2009. Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Now, this is the one of the 4 victims that has not been directly connected to Rex Heuermann. Brainerd Barnes was living in Norwich, Connecticut. She went missing after taking an Amtrak train from New London, Connecticut to Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan on July 6, 2007. Amber Lynn Costello, 27, another one that has been directly linked to Rex Heuermann. Costello, 27, was an escort worker and an addict who lived in West Babylon, New York, at a home with a woman and 2 men. She advertised on Craigslist and Backpage to support her and her roommates' illicit habits. Costello was found in December 2010 after having been last seen leaving her home that September. Megan Waterman, 22, again, another one that was linked directly to Rex Heuermann. Waterman, a 22-year-old mom of 1, was last seen on June 6, 2010. She lived in Scarborough, Maine, and earned a living as an escort. She was last seen by her family boarding a New York-bound Concord Trailway bus in Maine. Her body was found on December 13, 2010, on the north side of Ocean Park near Gilgo Beach. And here are the maps, as you see here, the Long Island map. Let me blow this up a little bit for you. This one right here, it shows you the suspect's home. to Bay Beach, Gilgo Beach, and Fire Island. And those are, and of course, in conjunction with Manhattan. As we know, Rex Heuermann lived in Manhattan. This other one tells you the location of the victims' bodies and where they were found along the beach, the Gilgo Beach area. So I'm going to try to get this where I can put it all up here on one screen. There we go. Is that good? There we go. So there is where the victims were found. And as you can see, down here at the bottom, number 7, that's where Karen Vergata was. And as you notice, she was a good length away from the Gilgo 4. And that was Amber Lynn Costello, Melissa Barthélemy, Megan Waterman, and Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Those were that cluster. And as you see, 7, 5, and 6 of this map, how much different and how far away they were from the 4, the original 4. Yet Vergata disappeared in 1996. And you've got Mackey that disappeared. When did they say Mackey disappeared in this article? Hold on. I remember Karen was Valentine's Day, but I can't remember Mackey. The summer of 2000. So 1996, and then 4 years later, you've got Mackey, and again, on the opposite, very much further away from Karen, on the furthest end. So you got Karen on one end and Valerie on the furthest end, the 4 in a cluster, and then you kind of got Jessica Taylor kind of thrown in there between the cluster and Valerie Mack. So this is kind of why I feel that there was 2 separate killers out there. You've got ones that were staged and ones that were dismembered, and they're all overlapping somewhere in sometimes in these same time areas. So I don't know. I'm really unsure, but that's just my personal thought process on it, because if they were all staged, I would honestly say every person on this strip of beach, if they were staged, would have been somehow directly related to Rex Heuermann. But the method of disposal is so wildly different, and you've got one that seems to be that almost poses his victims like they're prizes, and one that just destroys them. And it's just a whole different, I don't know. I think they're 2 totally different people. I don't know what your thoughts are. Jessica Taylor was 20 years old. The remains belonging to Jessica Taylor. Now, remember, she's the one right here, number 5, kind of in between the cluster of the 4 and Valerie Mack. Again, another dismembered female escort worker. The remains belonging to Jessica Taylor, a 20-year-old woman working as an escort in New York City, were found in a wooded area in Manorville in 2003. Her additional remains, initially labeled Jane Doe number 5, were discovered March 2011 along Ocean Park. So that's really the only reason why she's there. This person that liked to dismember and scatter had several different areas that he liked to scatter. And it seemed like one of the favored areas was obviously that Gilgo Beach strip. Valerie Mack, 24. Again, this is kind of one of the people that really inspired this live. Valerie Mack was 24 years old and living in Philadelphia when she went missing. She worked as an escort using the alias Melissa Taylor. Relatives last saw Mack in the spring or summer of 2000 in Port Republic, New Jersey. And you notice that these other ones kind of came, like this one's from New Jersey, and we know that the East Side Strangler was also from New Jersey. So I'm telling you, I really believe there was 3 of these animals working kind of in the same general area. It's that thought freaks me out. Like it's so unbelievable that I almost feel like I am a conspiracy theorist, thinking such a thing. I have to be honest with you. So she was never reported missing to the police. Her partial skeletal remains were found in Mornville in September 2000, and she was identified as Jane Doe number 6. So this is the second body. So Jessica Taylor was also found, parts of her were found in Mornsville, and she was classified as Jane Doe number 1. And then Mac was Jane Doe number 6 in the same area. Odd. That's really weird. There might be a fourth. Who knows? I don't know. Might be a third. I think there's 3. Unidentified Asian male. The skeletal remains of a yet to be identified Asian male were found along Ocean Parkway on April 4th, 2011. It is estimated that the man was between 17 and 23 years old at the time of his death. He was approximately 5 feet, 6 inches tall with bad teeth. So I'm surprised that nobody reported this man missing, especially if he could have been 17 to 23, but we don't know how he got here. And that's odd. And this person literally has, even if this person was like dressing up, like say it was an escort that was trying to pass himself off as a female, which we've heard those in the past, he wouldn't have been the size, the make that these particular serial killers gravitated to. So I feel like this is like the outlier, that this guy here doesn't go with any of this. This just is something totally different. So Peaches and her daughter, an African-American woman's partial remains were discovered in Hempstead Lake State Park back in 1997. She had become known as Peaches because of the bitten tattoo of a peach on her left breast. April 2011, police uncovered remains of a toddler who were about 2 years old at the time of her death. DNA testing confirmed that one of the skeletal remains, or one of the skeletons that of the 2-year-old girl's mother was Peaches. So, and then of course, Karen Vergata, which was Jane Doe number 7, and has been identified as 34-year-old Manhattan woman. Vergata is believed to have disappeared on Valentine's Day, 1996. 2 months later, her legs were found in a plastic bag near Fire Island. At the time of her disappearance, she was believed to be an escort. And then, of course, we know about Shannon Gilbert. Shannon Gilbert's a 23-year-old that ran out of a house and really is the one that kickstarted this entire investigation off, because she was calling that some guy was trying to kill her. And it seemed like she was really out of it on some psychedelic type of, substances. And it was just a really bizarre phone call. We got to hear it at the press conference. It was all just really, really bizarre. This whole entire situation, and the people that reside in this area, some of them make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. And I'll explain why later today as we get through these articles. The 3 unidentified remains found near Gilgo Beach included a woman referred to as Peaches because of the tattoo. She had a toddler identified as her child, and an Asian man. Officials said genetic genealogy is being used to identify the victims, particularly in the cases of Peaches, who they said may have had relatives in Alabama. The Post has reached out to Heuermann's attorney for comment. Heuermann's already been charged with the death of Amber Castillo, Megan Waterman, and Melissa Barthelemy. He has previously been arrested and charged with the murder of the deaths of 3 women who were found dumped along Gilgo Beach in December 2010, Megan Waterman, Melissa Barthelemy, and Amber Lynn Costello. Heuermann's 59 is also considered the main suspect in Maureen Brainerd Barnes' death. He pled not guilty, but prosecutors say the DNA sample he was ordered to take matched the DNA from the pizza crust found outside of the Manhattan office in July. So we know we know investigative genealogy, genetic genealogy has a lot to do with a lot of these solved cases that we're dealing with here recently. Now, I did kind of go into a little more about the victims, the ones that they're looking at right now, the Karen Vergata and Valerie Mack. So I brought up some information. Again, it was really kind of difficult to find anything or a lot of information on Karen and Vergata. But I was able to find this, and it basically says that she was born November 4th, 1961, and her date of death was February 14th, 1996. She was a victim of the Long Island serial killers. Her legs were discovered in 1996 and her skull was located in 2011. She is the earliest recorded victim of the killer. Now, I disagree with this. They're assuming, because quite frankly, I don't think Rex killed her. I don't. I've tried to make sense of it, but she was publicly identified on August 4th. And again, I have personally tried to wrap my head around whether she. I wish they would have used this picture. I just thought that other picture, that other school picture of her, was really young and didn't do her justice. She's a very beautiful woman, and very sad that she lost her life. I don't believe it's Rex. Until new and better information comes about, honestly, I don't know if I will ever concede that it's Rex, because of the brutality, the absolute brutality of their disposal just doesn't bode in line with that of Rex Heuermann. It just doesn't for me. But again, I'm interested. So as I was trying to express is, that beautiful school picture of Valerie was just that, a beautiful school picture of Valerie. Sorry about that. I accidentally I accidentally swiped. Didn't even realize I swiped, but I did. But what I was going to tell you about Valerie Mack is that, that beautiful school picture of her was beautiful. And it breaks my heart because, different lifestyles or different pains, even a person that had everything going for them, something could happen in their life that just affects them in such a way uh, that it causes problems the rest of their life. A lot of things that happen when we're children can affect us in our adulthood. I think that this is a lot of the stories for a lot of these escorts. They've had a lot of problems as children, whether it was them being abused physically, mentally, SA. A lot of these people bear a lot of pain, and sometimes it's easier just not to think about what you've lived through, what you went through, or just you don't want to feel the pain. You just want to feel normal. And a lot of these women go down this path where they're just using a substance just to get through a problem, and that substance grabs a hold of them. And next thing you know, they're spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to support that habit. It is a progressive situation. So the reason why I'm going through all of this is because Valerie, obviously in this photo, is not the pretty little, schoolgirl that we saw. She looks like she's had some problems, but she didn't deserve what happened to her. Partial skeletal remains of Valerie Mack were located in a wooded area in Manorville in September 2000. Additional remains of Mack were discovered on April 4th, 2011, along Ocean Park during a search for Shannon Gilbert. Valerie Mack, who was 24 when she went missing, was last known with the last known address in Philadelphia, worked as an escort using an alias Melissa Taylor. There is no familiar relationship between Mack and Jessica Taylor. Family members saw Mack in the spring or summer of 2000 in Port Republic, New Jersey. It's just kind of some of the same information. And here are some of the photos of her that you can see, just a progression of this decline where she went from a bright, vibrant young girl to where she was now utilizing narcotics. And here's the area where they found her. It's just sad. Just sad. And there is some more information on her. So that pretty much really does wrap up. I mean, I do have some other information about Rex. Let's see here. Let me just put this up here. But it's really a reiteration of what we've already read. And the real reason why I've got this Daily Mail article is because I like their older photos. And again, this was kind of, I wish they would have kept her because this is just too young. I don't think this really, for Karen, really gives what she looked like at the time. I don't know what year photo this was of her, but I'd have to say that this one here was more in line with what she was looking like at the time of her disappearance. So I wish they would have kind of used that one a little bit more. And I don't think there's really anything else here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, because usually when I pull up these, they're for reasons. They either have some information in it or they don't. And I like this. Map the best. I'm actually going to save that. There we go. All right, we'll save that. I'm going to see if there's anything else in here. Oh, yeah. Here's the article. That I probably should have read first. This is the one. Again, you guys know how I feel about the Sun. If you don't know how I feel about the Sun, you really have to be cautious when reading information from the Sun for a variety of reasons, which I'm not going to go in right now. And as you can see, that's where the photo came from and the comment about the kill zone. 2 additional investigators were assigned. We learned of that. These are the cases that they're covering. They're covering Valerie Mack as well as Karen Brigada and seeing if they link to Rex Heuermann. Again, the one good thing about this whole entire task is I truly believe that they're going to find out who killed these women. I think that this investigative genetic genealogy testing is an explosive field right now. I think we're going to find a lot of missing people that are going to now be able to be identified. I think we're going to find a lot more. We're going to find a higher close rate in our cold cases. I think that they finally have something that might help. Now, there's still a lot of cold cases and maybe people that either aren't from this country or their family just doesn't has never given DNA, never done anything. There are whole entire family systems that have never provided DNA, and their DNA would never be in any type of system. So there are situations like that. So not all of these cases, we're still going to have outliers where cases aren't being covered. Are not going to be closed because of a number of reasons. And maybe some of these cases don't even have DNA, maybe weren't even collected, were just done very sloppy at the beginning. We've had cases like that. It did happen because back then they just didn't have a whole lot of stuff at their disposal. It really was shoe leather detective work. It really wasn't anything other than that. Let me see what kind of questions we have, if any. Give me just a second. I don't get to tune in often, but would love to see Miss Betty's opinion on it. Sarah's Sweetness. Let me see if I can go up to where you're at and see what your question is. I think I'm getting there. You should watch the Howard Stern show where the caller claimed to be the serial killer. I think it was Rex. Interesting. I will watch it. Let me write that down on my list of things to do today. I will watch it. Rex Heuermann. Howard Stern. Serial. Hold on. So that's really it. I really all I had. I mean, I've got a few things open. This whole thing was really going to be about Gilgo, the Gilgo Beach murders and this task force and adding new people and stuff like that. But I think we got the gist of it. You know, this guy's dangerous. He traveled and had the ability to travel all over the country. Yes, folks, all over the country. So he and because of who he is, he could really have done a lot of damage unbeknownst to us. This idea that he was able to run around is just ultra scary. Guys, also, this is something else that I feel impassioned to talk about today, because I'm really getting frustrated, and this is also for Twitter, for the people that are watching me right now on Twitter or will be watching this on Twitter later. You guys can clip it. You guys can club me over the head with it. I really don't care. Do what you will. Here's what I got to say. And I actually wasn't going to get involved in this because it's not my fight. It's not. I think the people that are in it can handle themselves when it comes to the Karen Reed case. Okay. From what I have been able to see so far, now, I understand when any officer in law enforcement commits a crime or could perceive to have committed crime, it is movie-like, cinema-like, to naturally have your creative mind go straight to corruption. But you have to ask yourself, in a situation with Karen Reed, why would anybody throw a woman under the bus? Out of all the people possible to throw under the bus, why his girlfriend? Why this woman? I've reviewed the information. Now, do I think this investigation related to Karen Reed went perfectly? No, I don't. Do I think that there were mistakes made in the investigation in Karen Reed? Yes, I do. Do I think Karen Reed, based on what I have previewed so far, accidentally hit Officer O'Keefe, Sergeant, or whatever his title is, O'Keefe? Yes, I do. Here's the thing that a lot of people and a lot of conspiracy theorists don't understand, that many of us in true crime do understand. When you reconstruct an accident, you literally are taking mathematical equations and putting pieces back together. So, for example, this idea that her brake light was hit, some officer swept up all the reminiscences of her brake light and just tossed them near Mr. O'Keefe's body to have it appear. It doesn't work like that. Maybe in the movies they can pull that off, but in the reality, in the real world, they literally can tell that when you impact a person here and this light breaks off, it falls here with almost certainty. This is why there is no possibility of somebody simply just sweeping up the brake lights and just simply tossing them there to make it appear that this lady did not do this crime and was set up. They're going to be able to tell that because of this angle, this bumper hitting O'Keefe right here, it broke this light, these lights fell right here. It is going to be that precise and that specific. Do I think that this woman warranted a second-degree murder charge? I absolutely do not. I think that's being overzealous. Do I think that this woman was intoxicated and made a terrible decision? I do. I don't care about any armchair detective out there. I don't care. I don't care about your opinion when you go and attack other officers and go and stalk other people. Many people say that Bullhorn Betty, me, has done that. I have not. Nor will I ever. Nor do I condone anybody conducting themselves in that manner. Ever. Whenever I conduct myself on private property. I do things above board and above law. I don't follow people. I don't show up at their fields where their children are working and making a scene. And this is insane. Absolutely, utterly insane. But what really takes the cake for me is listening to people club Jennifer Coffindaffer over the head for her analysis of the situation, her professional opinion. From assholes out here on Twitter, yes, you guys know which ones I'm talking about because I've seen your comments. I'm going to call you just that, assholes, that have no reconstruction expertise or even knowledge, even general knowledge, degrading a seasoned FBI agent like Jennifer Coffindaffer. I may not agree 100% with her analysis on stuff, just like there's a lot of legal professionals I don't agree with their legal analysis on. It doesn't mean that I go and talk to them so deplorably. My message to Jennifer Coffindaffer is thank you for your service. Thank you for giving us a little insight in an area that many of us don't understand, like the FBI. And I value your analysis on these cases, whether or not I agree with them. The bottom line is people are attacking people that had nothing to do with this investigation. People are following and stalking and reporting on witnesses in this case. You are interfering with an active and open investigation and an active and open court hearing and court proceeding. If you think that I'm anything like you, you are absolutely wrong, delusional, and have lost your entire moral compass. It's one thing to advocate for the rights of somebody, and it's another thing to criminally conspire to stalk, harass, and keep under surveillance certain people. This is a murder. Law enforcement does not play with shenanigans. You go in there and you interfere with that investigation, you will go to jail. And I have said that many times because people try to accuse me of doing the same thing. And I said, they don't give a rat's ass what my name is. If I was committing the crimes that these people are saying I'm committing, I would be in jail. Turtle Boy did wrong. He needs to stop what he's doing before he ends up in jail for a really significant amount of time. For those that are out there that think Karen Read is innocent, that is your prerogative and your right to think. Go out there and do your work lawfully. What does that mean? It means you can protest on public property, but don't go on private property. When someone tells you to leave them alone, you leave them alone. The law provides that you can walk up a driveway and knock on a door. When that person opens that door and tells you to leave, you leave. It stops there. Now, if they are a person that you're interested in you set up across the street on public property. You don't encroach their private space. You don't keep them under constant surveillance. You don't go and harass them and antagonize them and make them feel fearful. Those are crimes. Criminal crimes. That if you did that shit to me, you bet your ass I'd want you in jail. But when I went on Twitter today and saw Jennifer Coffendorfer, which has done nothing but give her professional opinion and her analysis, being clubbed over the head from animals that barely even have a high school education, let alone a college education, it pisses Bullhorn Betty off just ever so slightly. So now, Twitter, you guys can go back there and talk about me now. But this is getting ridiculous when you think you have a right to speak to somebody in that manner that is just giving a professional analysis. Shame on you. Shame on all you animals that think you have a right to act this way. It's getting old. You're allowed to have your opinion, and guess what? So is Jennifer. This idea that you're allowed to have your opinions, but good God, nobody else is allowed to have an opinion that alters your opinion, or they're going to be attacked and called a grifter and just for a click and a view. Bitches, you guys are the ones for a click and a view because you have 10,000 members to her 40,000 members, and you keep putting her name in your mouth out of hate. You're diminishing yourselves in the eyes of the public. Yeah, you're popular now. But when you're shown that you were wrong, and wrong, and wrong, and then again wrong, and then again wrong, and then again wrong, and then again wrong, and then it shows that you were just a hater, you've ruined your own credibility. So take your popularity now and enjoy it. But sometimes being courteous and making a valid point is much better than being nasty to make an invalid point. So guys, please be kind to your neighbors. Please be kind to the people here on the internet. And if you don't like somebody's content, you don't like what somebody's saying, guess what you can do? You can control your own behavior. And not even respond or engage. Those that feel the need to respond and to engage, it says a hell of a lot more about you than it does about the person you're responding to. God bless. Take care. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe and kind to one another, especially in the comment box below. Treat others as you wish they would treat you.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.